Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Big Conversations with your girl, Tee Adeyemo. It's been a minute. Happy New Year. I hope you're well. It's genuinely back. It's genuinely great to be back. I've not done any one of these podcasts in a minute. So I'm actually happy to be here tonight, and we have a show for you. Our first guest is Chidi Iwuchukwu, is Executive Director of the Resilient Immigrant Program, and he joins us to talk about men's health. You may be wondering what Big Conversations is about. I omitted that part. He's just talking about things that affect you, events, community, politics. Big Conversations is about you. And to kick it off tonight for us is Chidi, Executive Director Chidi Iwuchukwu. Thank you so very much. Chidi, Happy New Year. How are you, sir?
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So you're passionate about men's health. Why is that?
It so happens that first I'm a man, so I should be passionate about our health. But men, over a period of time, especially in the immigrant community, have had many haven't had the opportunity to integrate with the medical system here. And so in our community, for example, there have been many instances, many very sad occasions where we had to bury men here at a very young age. And part of it is because even though the health system in Abara is free, many of us are not engaging with the system. And so the things that we could prevent, the things that we could stop have ballooned, and we had all that episodes where people were dying. So one of the last ones I attended, I just stood at the graveside when almost everybody had gone, and I felt the desire or the pushing or the calling to do something about this. And that's why I'm very passionate about men's health. I am tired of burying our brothers. I'm tired of us not engaging with the medical system. I'm tired of us having challenges that we could very easily solve if only we take a little bit of time and pause and consider that we are mortals.
I mean, men's wellness is a huge topic, isn't it? If you want to talk about wellness, you want to talk about
Yeah, it
mental
is.
health.
And the bigger,
Sorry, you were saying?
men's wellness, sorry, I think sorry, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I think I'm having a little bit of delay. I don't know where it's coming from. But
Yeah.
men's wellness is important because if all of us brought over our children, especially when we're talking about in immigrant community, we brought our families over here to give them the best of life, to give them global platforms, as it were. Now, if we are not well, all that dream, all that vision will just go, will just die. And then the people we brought in here, hoping to give them a good life, we end up giving them a very challenging growth or youth or childhood, as the case may be. So it's very important, like we are told every single time we enter an aircraft, says in the event of a sudden loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop from up. Put your own first before you help any other person. So it may sound counterintuitive, especially if you look at the role that we men take as providers, protectors, and leaders in our home. It might be counterintuitive to think that you should take care of yourself first. But we've realized that if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be of any good to anybody. So I am beginning to think that maybe it's time we galvanize our men to begin to take care of ourselves. And then it begins to spread all over the family, because the kids will see you making healthy choices. The wife will see you making good choices, both in your nutrition and your lifestyle, and they will join and tag along.
Now, one way in which you do this is to encourage men to come out of the strategy to walk. And I know everyone can walk, it's inexpensive, it's free. Um, let's talk about this campaign. First of all, how are Edmonton men, how are your men engaging with this program that you have for them every Saturday at the West Edmonton Mall?
It's amazing what has happened, because sometimes when community efforts like this are started, it looks like it takes a little bit of time. But off the bat, it seemed to me that there was a need for this in the community, but nobody had picked it up as it may. Because the reaction we've gotten, the support that we've gotten, the participation has been amazing. So every Saturday, and it doesn't matter whether it is hot or cold, you see men leave their bed early to come and talk, come and walk, come and exercise, come and network with other people. And the numbers are staggering. As at this time, we have over 150 people who had walked with us at different times. And the other side of it is, it's becoming even somehow embarrassing for me when I get into the community. You see men apologizing for not coming up to come and walk. And I'm like, no, just take your time. This is important. It's something that is important, but it's something that you need to prioritize. So I'm beginning to see a whole lot of traction going on. And more importantly, beyond the walk, a lot of people are also taking additional lifestyle changes, lifestyle calls that I'm making to make sure that they live healthier, they are way better prepared to serve and protect their families.
I beg your pardon. Thank you so very much for this initiative. So on the 1st of February, you have a big event coming up. I understand you're expecting hundreds of men to show up. What is this event about, Chidi?
So part of what we do at Pack and Walk is not just that we walk. We try to encourage engagement to the medical system. We try to encourage information. We give tips about how to get healthy and how to keep our weight and all of that, all the stats that we need to watch on. So every 3 months, every quarter, we bring men together into a room and we get experts, mostly experts from our community, people who have lived the same experience that we have lived, to come to talk to us about some of the aspects of different aspects of wellness. So you have mental wellness, you have physical wellness, you have financial wellness, you have family occupational wellness, and all of that. So this is one of those conversations that we've been having. And for February 1st, the first for the year of 2025 will be happening at the Williga Rec Center, room 6. And the lineup of speakers are amazing. I'm just can't wait for the day to come, because it's going to be a huge, huge intellectual harvest. We have people who are deep rooted in the community, who are passionate to make sure that everybody is well and kicking, as it were. So that's what we're going to happen. That's what is going to happen the first Saturday of February in Edmonton here.
Okay, so is there a website that people can go to sign up, so they can, at least men can go to sign up and show their interest and maybe come out on the 1st of February?
Absolutely. The program we're having is free, but registration is required, obviously, because we have to plan for and not have everybody come. We need to know the number of people who are coming, because we have limited spaces. Now, we have an Eventbrite account for Pack and Walk. We also have an Eventpadi account for Pack and Walk. Both of these sites are up and running with our adverts. So you need to register on either Eventbrite or Eventpadi so they can get your ticket, because we have very limited number of seats and it's very small capacity, the hall. And we can't exceed it because A is government owned, B is fire code. So we need you to register. Don't just show up. You need to register and let us know that you are coming so we can plan properly.
Chidi Iwuchukwu, you are the Executive Director of the Resilient Immigrant Program, and you have a big Men's Wellness Summit, 1st of February. I want to say thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, Chidi. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to if you're just joining us, this is Big Conversations with Tee Adeyemo. Happy New Year. We have a show tonight. That was Chidi Iwuchukwu. He's promoting men's wellness, men's health. And on the 1st of February, they have a big event coming up. Please support Chidi or support yourself by going out to work. Our next guest is none other than the powerful president of the Yorubas of Edmonton. The Yoruba itself is an historic tribe from Nigeria, but you know the Yoruba tribe itself is in Brazil, is scattered across different parts of the world. And to give us some perspective about the work that the Yorubas of Edmonton are doing is none other than the president of the association, Mrs. Wummi Awujola. She joins us right now from Edmonton. Good evening, Mrs. Awujola. Thank you so very much for your time tonight.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. T, for having me. It's a pleasure to join you today.
Yeah. So we say we'll do this media chat. So I'm happy finally.
It's been a while. It's been a long time coming. Absolutely.
So congratulations on being president of the Yorubas in Edmonton.
Oh, thank you.
So to kick off our media chat, what are the plans? What are your plans for this year? It's a brand new year. This is like the third week. So what are the plans for the Yorubas this year?
Well, thank you, T. Well, we have the Yoruba Association has a lot of plans for 2025. As we normally do, every year we run webinars, different seminars to encourage our members and to ensure that we keep developing our social and economic outcomes as community and as individuals as well. This year we will be having lots of educational programs, not just for adults. This year we're focusing more on the youth and our children as well. We also run a language program that we do virtually twice a month, and we do have an in-person program, a Yoruba language program that also runs once a month, the last Saturdays of the month. We have a lot of programs packed for this year. We have a festival coming, a cultural festival that will be happening sometime in summer. We also have a summit that is coming up sometime in fall. We do have a technology workshop that will be coming at the end of February. So yes, the year is fully packed for us, and we hope community members actually come in and take advantage of all the learnings that we will be bringing forward to them.
Absolutely, and thank you so very much. One of the crucial things you're doing right now is the anti-racism workshop. I understand that this Saturday you have day 2. Why was it important for the Yorubas of Edmonton to put together an anti-racism workshop of this magnitude?
Well, T, we all know that one way or another, we've all been affected by racism in this environment. It is important for us to create awareness. It is important for the Yoruba Association. We believe that everybody should be aware of the effect and the impact of racism on even adults, children, whoever. You know, some people might not have experienced it, but a lot of people have, and it does have a lot of impact on our mental health, even on how, you know, we relate and how we see ourselves. A lot of times when we talk to children, we realize that though they were born and raised here, they are beginning to have identity crisis and identity issues. They are not able to relate with other children. They are not welcome in spaces, and this shouldn't be. So for this reason, it is important for us to champion this and make sure that we are talking about this. These conversations should not remain in our rooms or at our dining rooms. We should take it out there. We should be confident to talk about it. We should be confident to talk about the impact that it is having on our society, because we want to ensure that Edmonton, Alberta, becomes an inclusive society for everyone.
Thank you very much. So you had the first workshop last Saturday. What were some of the feedback you got from the people who attended that workshop?
Oh, yeah, the workshop was really, really impactful. A lot of people was so one of the comments and the feedback that we got from the students, because the program that we had on Saturday, which was the opening ceremony of the event, was geared towards K to 12, so which is addressing racism in the education system, and we focused on K to 12 schools. And a lot of the children were so happy to be in attendance, and they said they gained a lot, in understanding the tools that are available to them, even to fight, racism. And one other guest said to us, I feel empowered, and those are the kind of things that we want to see. We want people to be empowered when they come to this workshop. How do you address this? Who do you talk to when you encounter racism in the school? Who are the allies that we have in the education system, in the public school system, in the Catholic school system? Who should you be talking to? Who should parents be talking to? And so it was really impactful. We had a lot of people in attendance. The mayor was there to encourage, Edmontonians, to let them know that the city is working with us and they are in this journey with us to encourage us and make sure that racism becomes something of the past in our city.
Absolutely. When we talk about anti-racism, it's such a big problem, a big deal. What are you hearing from youth about how enormous this problem is? I know the Yorubas are not the first to host a workshop, this and that, around anti-racism. So surely some of all that work, especially since this mayor was elected, should be bearing an impact. Is that what you're hearing, that the situation is getting better, or is stagnant, or just the same? What are people telling you about the complexities of anti-racism?
Oh, well, I mean, T, what we're hearing is that, there's been an improvement, especially in the area of awareness. But what we are hearing right now is that a lot of the implementation is what people want to see. So the awareness is there. The government is doing a lot. There's been a lot of efforts from the city of Edmonton and the government of Alberta itself in ensuring that more people are aware of the effect and the impact of racism. But what we're hearing right now is, how do we implement all the new policies that have been put in place? And so a lot more people want to see implementation, and which is why Yoruba Cultural Association of Edmonton is championing this, ensuring that we're talking to policymakers, we're talking to individuals, we're talking to parents, we're talking to institutions to make sure that we push these actions forward. Thank you.
So you have an event this Saturday. Could you tell us a bit more about what will be going on at the Chapel Gardens on Saturday, and how people can maybe participate in this very crucial line of conversations?
Okay, so Saturday, January 25, we will be having the day 2. So the event that we have is titled Photo Tales Initiative on Racism, and it is part of our ongoing commitment to ensuring that we have equity and inclusion. So day 1, we held at Clearview. This Saturday, it will hold at the veterinary room of the Chapel Gardens. So you can expect to come in and walk into a room full of, so there will be an exhibition, a photo exhibition, and the exhibition are submissions from youths that have been impacted by racism in one form or the other, whether at school or in playground or public spaces. They have taken their time over a period of about a couple of months to create art, to write poems, and to take photographies that actually depict their experiences with racism. So you can expect to walk into a room full of beautifully curated artworks from our youth. These submissions were from children from grades, I believe, 8 to 12, and it is really, really impressive. And after the exhibition, we're going to start off with the workshop itself. We do have a couple of speakers that will be engaging us on that day. These are seasoned people, professionals. This Saturday, we're touching on racism in the workplace, and I believe that this is something that will be beneficial to each and every one of us. So there will be focus groups where we, discuss and talk about lived experiences. You can come in to share your stories with us and hear, the stories that others have to say, and expect to also go away with tools that you can use to address such occurrences if it ever happens to you.
I'm just wondering, what would you say to people who say racism is dead? This is 2025, it doesn't exist anymore. What would your response be?
Well, my response to them will be, you need to be out there. You need to talk to people. You need to actually be in spaces where these conversations are being, are held. I would want to say, look around, search online. There are several workshops like the ones that we are having where you can actually become more aware of people's experiences, because if we stay in our rooms and we're not interacting and relating to people, we're not engaging with people, how would you know what their experiences are? So I would want to say, I would want to encourage everybody to interact with more people, come out for these kind of conversations and actually have a one-on-one conversation with people so that you know that racism still exists in our city. While we hope it gets better, it is still there.
Mrs. Wummi Awujola, you are the president of the Yorubas of Edmonton. You're doing an amazing job being the president of all Yorubas within this fair. I want to say thank you so very much, so very much for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. As you can see there, I pressed the wrong button. I want to say thank you to Mrs. Awujola for joining us to talk about the anti-racism workshop. If you missed that, the day 2 is happening from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. At 1059 Chappelle Boulevard, Southwest Edmonton. This Saturday, January 25th, and there's an impressive lineup of speakers. Dr. Rachel Adino, Mr. Okoye, Professor Riola, Professor Shirley, and Tate, and so on and so forth. You don't want to miss it. I'll have the description at the bottom of this video. At the end, this is Big Conversations, and I am Tee Adeyemo. On to our next guest. Okay, I gotta say goodbye to Mrs. Awujola. All right. Be that as it may, this is Big Conversations, and our next guest is the executive director of a not-for-profit called the FEI, the Financial Empowerment Initiative. If you've been around Edmonton and Calgary much, you may have heard of Elnathan. She's the one and only executive director of the Financial Empowerment Initiative. Good evening, Tayo. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Miss Purple. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. Thank you for joining us, and I'm sorry about the initial mix-up. When we talk about financial literacy, this is the start of a new year. Why is financial literacy important?
Financial literacy is important because money is important. The knowledge of money is important. Um, you go to school to learn how to be a doctor, how to be a lawyer, how to be an accountant, but nobody ever teaches you what to do with the money you get or you earn, And financial literacy is important because it's not only the study of or the understanding of how to acquire money, but it's also how to um, invest it, how to hold on to it, and most importantly, how to multiply it, right? To make it more, to make it grow. And that's the difference between poverty and being wealthy, right? The difference between generational poverty or generational wealth. Um, and so that's why financial literacy is important because there's so much out there, there's so much information that people do not know that can help them, and little decisions really, that people need to consider as they plan their year. It's important to have this conversation also in January because this is the beginning of the year. So you set people I see a lot of vision board exercises, lots of planning exercises that people are going through goal setting, with the family, with the children, with the community. Finances is important. You can be very effective if you have a lot of money. You can be very well healthy when you have a lot of money, or when you know that you're not worried about your finances. You can be very well when you can send your children to the best schools because you can afford it, or go for vacations because you can afford it, or buy the finances in life because you can afford it. And when you can't afford it, lots of things happen: depression, you're stressed, you can't meet your bills, you can't pay your payments, you're living in the wrong side of town, you can't afford healthcare, you can't afford medical care. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So financial literacy is very important, and people also take it more seriously because the more you know, honestly, the better you are.
So, what do you say to people when they say to you that financial literacy is for rich people? The unemployment rate here in Edmonton is 7.4%. How would someone who is unemployed, who lives day to day on their credit card, why would they take financial literacy as important if they don't even have a job to guide and help them to begin to save or to get them on the right pillars or stairs to a decent 2025? What would you say to that,
It's a very
to
valid
them?
point. It's a very
Yeah.
valid point. One thing I would say is life goes in phases. That you don't have a job today doesn't mean you don't have a job tomorrow. That you're not where you want to be today doesn't mean you can't hold out hope for tomorrow. Most people have been through ups and downs. Um, but one thing I know for sure is this: if you don't have a plan to succeed, then you truly do plan to fail. So eventually the job will come, eventually the money will come, eventually you have a bit of a window, and what you do with that window, or what you do with that opportunity is what makes the difference, right? There are lots of people that um they come across opportunities, but they can't even recognize the opportunities when they see them, right? And so when you don't recognize the opportunities and they pass you by, and the thing with financial literacy is, so you finally do get the job. Yes, you might be knee deep in debt, you might be knee deep in financial situation, but um, if you don't know that savings is important, you may think, oh, I don't have enough money. If you don't know that you can save even $1 a day or even 50 cents a day, right? If you don't know about the law of compounding interest or the law of compounding, you may think, oh, I don't have anything. And then because of that mindset, of that stronghold, eventually what will happen is you truly won't have. So I get the fact that there's unemployment. I get the fact that it's difficult. I get the fact that families may be struggling and suffering, and everybody goes through that. But eventually, people come around, things change, and when that changes, you have an opportunity to turn things around, and you should be prepared to turn things around for yourself at that point in time.
All right, well answered. Actually, your organization, you this year you have very big plans. Can you talk to us about some of the good things we can expect in 2024 from
So
the?
we intend to do what we've always done. We don't do much outside the financial literacy sphere. So our organizations, our programs are the tax clinic, March and April. every year now. This will be the fourth, I believe, the fourth year that we are doing this. We run a clinic out in Edmonton and a clinic out in Calgary. Our plans maybe to hit Red Deer this year. Resources available. Think hopefully we're able to do that by God's grace. The tax clinic is free for people who are mid to low income, newcomers to Canada, youths, teenagers, single adults, families, couples, middle to low income, no business income. So if you have business income, we're not allowed to do that. So if you have, like, say, sole proprietorship, you work for yourself, even though it might be low income, we can't touch that. But if you have a T4, which is an employment income, then yes, we can do that. What else do we do? So we run financial literacy classes through the year, and we run different modules of financial literacy, six, talking about your assets, your credits, your um um dealing with debts and where to find help for debts if you are in a lot of debt. We talk about improving your earning capacity. We talk about what your assets is, and you'll be shocked to answer to add to the previous question you had asked me about what if. There are times when you even you have assets that you have no idea that they are assets that you can monetize, right? There are things that you might have around you that you have no idea because you are so focused on not having, and you may not even see what you have. And we talk about assets and investments and benefits and taxes, and we kind of go through financial literacy, and we tailor it to situations. So we do, for example, money and marriage, money in the context of marriage, financial literacy, because we know the number one cause of divorces is, at least ethnic divorces, is finances, right? People coming from a different country and things change. They have no idea how to live in the society because back home there was one provider and things were easier. They came from cashless societies, right? And so we talk about that. What else do we do? So financial literacy for the community. We tailor it once again to the family, to the youth, to the individuals. We're going to schools this year. We're going to be talking to children, teenagers, um, in certain schools this year. So that's a big positive. We're going to be talking to 15, 16-year-old children about financial literacy. So God help us. We also do non-profit support, so we provide information for community non-profits. We have a forum called the ED Talk, and we meet virtually and we talk about everything affecting the small non-profit, the grassroots organization, from it anywhere from fundraising to grant making to grant writing to strategic planning to tactical planning to revenue sustainability and generation. And we provide information. Of course, all this is free of charge to the community. We are funded by local agencies, so we don't charge a penny for our services. One thing though, I would look to say is that if you're wanting to volunteer, we are always open to volunteers. We need you. If you can file taxes, please go to www.thefei.ca. We want you to volunteer for us. If you want us to come to your community to file taxes, for example, you want us to come say to the Somali community, to the Nigerian community, to your community organization, and file taxes for your people, we can also arrange that. We do that for the community. So this is what we have planned this year: financial literacy for the community, by the community, in the community. I can't hear you. I lost you there. You're muted. Sorry, Bob.
Yeah, sorry about that. I fidget a lot. That's why I tend to mute myself because there's always a lot of noise coming from my end. When you were talking, what I got was oozing of passion for financial literacy. And one thing caught my attention. You mentioned money and marriage seminar. How effective have those been? Because I know the province itself has a big problem with intimate partner violence. How successful are the seminars in alleviating domestic strife? Does that question make sense? Is that too big of a question?
Yeah, I don't know that it is too big of a. It's a big question, honestly, and I can only say we do our part. When you talk about violence, at the end of the day, when violence is committed against you, the underlying fact is that it's a cop out, right? There shouldn't be violence in a relationship, right? So nothing should make a man or a woman commit acts of violence against the other, right? Now, stressors in the relationship, finances is one, right? It is my prayer and my hope that by the time we get to come to your community and do money and marriage a seminar, that your own relationship hasn't broken to the point where what we are telling you is now hindsight, as opposed to I'm sorry, excuse me, 1 second. Um, I apologize for that. I got a little visit from my son, who supports me in financial literacy things.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry, but
We all we
sorry,
understand perfect. Fine.
sorry about that.
Little one, so carry on.
Yeah, so my hope and prayer is that by the time financial literacy comes to the family, that we are able to help, as opposed to say it's gotten beyond. The our goal is most likely, how do I say, preventative, that you get to have the information, for example, that you need before it affects your family negatively. And I'll give you example. For example, some people don't know that, say, the child benefit is paid to the woman. That's what the CRA says. Child benefit is for the mom. In cases of divorce or separation, you can tell them and they'll split it, maybe um, to both, in between the spouses, right? So one of the biggest issues that I've seen is, why is my wife collecting all the child benefits, and I'm the one that pays the daycare fees, and so when people know that, even though the government pays it to the woman, the child, the caretaker, it doesn't mean that they don't respect the man. It just means that that is the rule that they follow. So you find those little things come up from time to time when people just don't understand. So by the time you take time to explain it to a couple and say, this is how this is done, or this is what this is done, or these are the resources out there for you, I think when people have a prior understanding of how things work, they're able to do better. For example, even understanding credit cards. There are lots of couples who come in country and then they go get a $10,000 credit card, and then they max it out, or the one spouse maxes it out, because they have had no previous knowledge of what the credit card is, or how it works, or how it affects the family income. And so our job is to inform and educate, because the belief is, if you know better, you will do better. Um, but you're right about intimate partner violence. I think there are other underlying facts to intimate partner violence, um, that maybe is above what we can handle or what we can prevent. However, what I do say is, if you feel that you are threatened or you're in a violent situation, seek help, seek help, seek help. When you're alive, you live to tell the tales. When you're dead, you're dead.
Mm. Thank you very much, Tayo. You've spoken well. Obviously the FBI will do their part. You are not there to solve every problem for every person. I've got a final question for you. When you talk about financial education, how far are you willing to travel to deliver this education? So if I say I am in Fort McMurray or Lethbridge, is your organization willing to come to my organization in Lethbridge to train us in financial literacy matters? How does that work from your side? Could you talk
Um,
a little bit about that?
we the funding we have to work with covers Alberta. It's Alberta wide. So if we do have organizations who are willing to partner with us across the province, we can make that work and make it happen. And partner with organizations across Alberta to reach out to the communities. That's the job. That's what we're trying to do. Um, so we're not limited to Edmonton and Calgary, even though we have more people here. There are plans for us to go into Red Deer this year, and then from then on, maybe even go as far as Lethbridge. Um, yeah, so we're able to partner with people across with organizations or individuals or communities across the province to deliver financial literacy information, even to train financial literacy educators. And we don't work alone. We have other big organizations that can even come in and support the initiative, should in case it's something that comes to us. So, like I said, the job is financial literacy education. The job is to educate people. The job is to make each life better. So that's the goal. That's what we're trying to do here.
Mm. I'm very well done on that. One other final question is: so you run an annual tax clinic. Do you
Hmm.
have the in which this in which you start the free service to do taxes?
Say
Do you
again.
know when you start it?
So we typically
Your
run it from March 1 to April 30. Those are the tax season. We haven't finalized on a date yet. We're working on locations. However, if you can stay up to date on our activities, www.thefei.ca. We're also on social media. So any of the social media handles, you can see us there on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and most importantly, our website, www.thefei.ca. All that is on on our website, and even more information and more resources also on our websites are there. So once again, www.thefei.ca, or on Instagram or LinkedIn.
Yeah, Mrs. Awujola was just talking about anti-racism in the workplace. Is that something that you have experienced maybe during your time working as an adult? Is that something you ever come across, racism in the workplace?
Racism exists. And yes, I have experienced my share of racism. It's a human condition. Um, I've seen people who have been unkind to me because of the color of my skin, and I've seen people who have been mean to me because I look different or talk different or sound different or my lunch smells different. All sorts of micro aggressions has happened. At the end of the day, racism is a human condition. I don't believe necessarily that I have been blessed by um, every members of all races, and I've been maligned also by members of all races. Maybe this is not the most popular approach to it. I know racism does occur in the workplace. I know there are microaggressions, but I choose to see the humanity in everybody, and I choose to come from that lens and to see from a lens of understanding that we're all human beings and we all have our faults and our failings. Um, and I choose to forgive and I choose to move on, right?
Mm,
It's painful when it happens and it's hurtful when it does, but I've made my choice. If it happens, I will forgive it and I will move on because I don't want it to hold me down. I don't want the bitterness of it to hold me down. I don't want the heaviness of it to affect me. Um, at the end of the day, racism is just a cover front for hatred, or for anger. All over the world, there's hatred for tribes and um, not even based on color. People from the same communities hate each other, and they call it tribalism in some areas. They call it ethnic cleansing. They call it all sorts of names. It's a human condition. People are taught to hate. People can be taught to love. I hope we love each other more than hate. And I think that the good light that communities are shining and organizations are shining on these things will help in the long run. When people understand the why. Not everybody is necessarily being a racist, they just don't know better. So education, information, education works. I've met people who said, oh wow, can I touch your hair? Yeah, touch it. um I don't find it offensive. They're just trying to understand. If it does become offensive, I'll address it there and then. But for the most part, like I said, I've chosen to forgive and I choose to leave.
mm. Executive Director Tayo Nathan, you are the Executive Director of the Financial Empowerment Initiative. You deliver financial literacy education across Alberta per your mandate, and you also run an annual tax clinic, typically from March to April every year. And you and your team are getting ready for the tax clinic for low-income community members
Yes, ma'am.
this year. So I want to say thank you so very much. In spite of how busy you are, you've taken some crucial time that you could be spending with your family on big conversations to educate us on why we need financial literacy education. Tayo, Nathan, thank you once again for your time.
Thank you for having me. Have a good evening. Stay warm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We do have one more guest on the first episode of Big Conversations. And whilst we're waiting for them to come, I am going to play a loop of adverts here and there. Don't go away. He's actually a big guest, and you want to listen into what he's got to say. I'm not going to tell you his name because I want to keep you in some sort of suspense till he comes. So stay right here. Don't disappear. We have a final guest before we go tonight. Hello and welcome back. Thank you so very much for your patience. We were waiting for our very powerful guest tonight, and I'm excited to say that he's here. I cannot thank you enough for your patience and staying with us on tonight's show, our first show back in a minute. So who are we bringing on is Malik Chuwudi. A couple of years ago, he ran to be Edmonton's mayor. We understand he's running again. Without much ado, here is Mr. Malik Chuwudi. Hello, Malik.
Hey, how are you doing, T?
Yeah, do you have your video?
Yes, I'll get my video on pretty. Just give me a minute or two here.
Okay. Okay, so whilst you're waiting for Malik, what do we know about Mr. Malik Chuwudi? He ran for Edmonton mayor under Malik for mayor in 2021, and he received 0.858% of the vote in 2021. And a long time has since passed since then. And in 2025, he's running again. The other candidates, such as Tim Cartmel, who has declared his candidacy. We have Omar Mohammed. We have Peter Sandhu. We have Rahim Jafar. Mr. Tony Katerina, the four-term councillor between 2007 and 2021, is also running. I believe we have your video. Thank you so very much, Malik, for joining us tonight. How are you, sir? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was frozen just now. How are you? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Okay, so yeah, fair enough. We are probably just on your way home or you're heading out for the evening.
No, I just got home from taproot meeting.
Okay, then you're in media company. All right, how did that go?
It went very well. It went absolutely well. A lot of people from the city of Edmonton. Some of the candidates were there.
Okay.
Yeah, they came in there to know what Taproot is all about, and they brought some numbers to show us, why the election happened the way it happened in 2021, what the candidates were able to do, what they did, and what we can expect in 2025 elections for councillors and for mayoral candidates as well.
Okay. Do we have your full attention now? It appears you're doing several things as you're talking.
No. I'm just trying to get into the house and get to my office, and then
okay. Let's come back to you. Let me come back to you. All right.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Okay. Whilst you're waiting for Malik to get settled, let's take a look at the other wards. And who is running where? If you remember Nakuta Iska, if you remember Diana Steele, she ran for mayor in 2021.
She's running as a councillor now as well.
Yeah, she's running as a councillor for Nakuta Iska in 2025. And in 2021, she received less than 1% of the vote. For Testa Winnie Wack. Okay, we know Principe is incumbent. And we have Chris Nelson, who was a former MLA for Edmonton Decor. Edmonton Decor, you must remember, is the constituent that Sharif
Haji
won. Yeah, Sharif Haji won. Chris Nelson was dethroned at the time. Now he's running is seeking to run in Tesawiniwak as a councillor. So he's leaving provincial politics to councillor. In Dean, we've got Aaron Paquette, Lana Palmer, Paul Brake. In Old Damien, we have Anal Pay and Stevenson and Stephen Hammersmith. In Métis, we have Ashley Salvador is incumbent and Carl Matthews. In Winiwak, Giselle General ran in 2021.
Yeah, General. I think he's riding in Andrew Knox.
Yeah, she's running.
Or maybe a riding over.
No, it's Sarah Hamilton's riding. She earned 22.4% of the vote in 2021, and she's running again now. And we don't have anyone in Michael Jan's riding. Papa Stew.
Where's Michael Jans? Michael Jans is by U of A, right?
Yeah, Papa Stew. We don't have anyone in P. He's Siwan.
Yes, he's. I think he's my counselor because I live by the University of Alberta.
Okay, so Sarah Awata is running in Tim Cartmill's riding. Okay, and the final one I think is EP Kokani POC. I know that name. We have Fahad Mughal, who ran in 2007 for mayor, earning 3.5% of the vote. We have Funjola, who is top 40 under 40, who was top 40 under 40 in 2020. We have Jennifer Rice, incumbent. It says she's presumed to be running, and John Morgan, who ran in 2021, earning 9.6% of the vote. Okay, we'll carry on looking at the different ridings in a minute. We've got you fully here. Malik, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me, for sure. Yeah.
Are you welcome? So why are you running again?
I'm running because it's been almost 4 years, actually. To be it's about 1,403 days. And so he was elected. And he elected to carry on from Iverson and to fix some of the issues within the city of Edmonton. But like everyone would agree with me, things actually gotten bad. Things has gone from bad to worse. And the spending continues and the property tax go up every single year. And businesses are moving out of Edmonton. Like 3 businesses closed today in West Edmonton Mall. And one of the local breweries by 76th Avenue actually closed the door. So businesses are moving to Leduc, Nesque, and also Atchison. So why is that? It's because the high property tax. And the problem, we have a spending problem. That's just what it is. If we can get our house in order and have our priorities in order, if we invest in infrastructure, we look at the tax that we brought in, look at the budget on the table, look at the operating budget, and figure out if we can handle this project moving forward. We can't just start a project just for the sake of starting a project. We have to have a plan, because if we cannot hit our target, we have no choice. When we run out of money, we have no choice but to raise taxes. And that's what just happened when the current mayor and council voted to raise taxes to 8.9%. And obviously, Edmontonians are not happy about it. And this election will be about that for sure. This election has to be and will be based on the voting pattern of councillors and also the spending approved by the mayor and the councillors. So it's gonna be consequential for sure, because it's not that easy, and a lot of people are not happy when they receive that letter from the city of Edmonton saying that their property tax has gone up. And also for some of those who are retired, they're on set income. So if their property tax has gone up for $200, $300, $400, $800, where are they going to get that extra money to pay for the difference? And some of those also in disability who are receiving AISH or other programs, they have a set income they receive every 2 weeks or every month. So which means they don't have extra. So if the cost of living or their rent goes up, where are they going to get the extra money to pay the difference? So making it harder for young people to buy a home or get into a home, because not only that, the mortgage rate has gone up, inflation gone up, the value of Canadian dollar has gone down, the growth for the city has gone down, businesses are struggling, and the business community are not happy with the current mayor and council. Actually, the ledger poll that came out, this is not from me. This is what the poll has put out, that 60% of Edmontonians, 70% of Edmontonians want the mayor and council gone. And I don't know anyone who I've met that's happy with what the councillors and the mayor has done. One hand, we say we were broke, we have no money. The other hand, they voted to increase their salaries. So if you say you broke, why give yourself a raise? So this is a slap on the face of the taxpayers, saying, well, most of us have worked for 5, 10, 15, 20 years and haven't received any raise in our work. But inflation goes up, property tax goes up, rent goes up, but our salary remains the same. So if you're making $50,000, $60,000 a year, maybe for the last 5, 10 years, it remains the same. But now you're paying more your property tax, you're paying more in your rent, insurance, so many things. And by the time you pay for all this, God forbid you have kids that you have to take care of as well, pay for their swimming lessons and the soccer practice or gymnastic lessons, you will be broke. You'll be out of money. And yet we do not consider these things at the ballot box. When we look at candidates and say, who's gonna balance the budget? Who's gonna make the hard decisions? That we pay for core services and pay for services that we can afford, not nice to have items. So we say, we can afford this. Maybe down the road, yes, but now, no, we cannot. So, and we have to convey that message to voters out there and let the voters understand what's going on. Those voters might be like, well, why are we not paying for this? Why are we not paying for that? We have to be honest with voters. We have to tell them, this is how it is. I know it's hard to swallow. I know it's hard to digest, but sorry, we cannot be able to afford X, Y, and Z. And doesn't mean we're not going to pay for it down the road when the economy gets better. But for now, that's just how it is.
Malik, have you started going door knocking? I hear a lot of anger from what you're saying. But is this what Edmontonians are telling you when you go?
Yes, what Edmontonians are telling me. Actually, I went to Tim Catmill's right, and I was talking to one of my friends. I said, hey, I gotta get 150 signatures. He says, well, go to Tim Catmill's writing. Since he's a candidate for mayor. Go there and get your 150 signatures. So I went there and I got my 150 signatures and I spoke to people. But some of the things people say about them is sentimental, Oh, he's a nice guy. My wife and his wife used to go to the same church. We used to go to the same dog park. And my dog and their dog are friends. These are sentimental stuff. But when I tell them the real issues, they voted to pay a consulting firm $600 million. Why would they pay? We voted them in to go in and do a job. But then they have to spend $600 million taxpayers' money to pay to a consulting firm to come in and tell them how to do the job. Why? You run on the fact, you run that one of the reasons why he was voted in, other than the fact that he's a nice guy. Obviously, he's a nice guy. I know him. And most of these events that I attend, I see him there all the time, and we have a good respect for each other. And so he's a nice person. He's just a weak leader. And the thing is, we cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. It ain't going to change until someone step in with a vision and say, this is the direction we're going. And explain that to Edmontonians. So Edmontonians understand. It's like when Barack Obama became the president of the United States, they were losing 800,000 jobs a month. Obama, after winning the election, went out and told Americans, he says, it's going to take a while to fix the economy. The damage is deep. I mean, we need to cut back. Yes, I may have promised this and promised that, but now I'm here. Reality has set in. We need to save the economy first. Then we can now look at those other things that I promised. For now, we need to dig ourselves out of this financial hole. And that's what he did. And when I become the mayor of Edmonton, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell Edmontonians the real truth, the facts, the problems we have, and the strategy in how to get ourselves out of it. Many people are not going to be happy about it because there's not going to be a new soccer field that's going to be built. There's not going to be a new YMCA. All those nice to have stuff isn't going to be there. But the core services like potholes, building roads, our waste management removal, those things, we're always going to pay for it. We will take care of Edmontonians. And another group I'm going to take care of is the business community. And I have to put a good package to bring in businesses back into Edmonton. Like when Trump became the president of the United States, he says he wants manufacturing job back in the United States. He wants job back in the United States. I want businesses in Edmonton. I want businesses to come back to Edmonton. We have to tailor our messages, one to the business community, one to our communities that have a lot of stuff going on. Some communities don't have a town hall. Some communities don't have a hall to conduct businesses and meetings, weddings and stuff. Some communities doesn't have anything to help them financially. They have to rely on grants to support youth programs. But there's so much the city could do to help business community, to help our own community, every community on the north side, east, west, and south, to stand on their 2 feet, and also youth engagement. On the north side, when I met with the Somalian community and Sudanese community, they talk about gun violence and gang violence, and most of these mothers cry to me that says we need to save our youths because they're nothing to do. They're hanging out in the gas station, in street corners. They buy guns, they carry guns, they shoot each other. We have funerals all the time. We are sick and tired of burying our own. We want to save these kids before it gets too late. And it really touched my heart, and I want to do that as well. But spend money, $600 million to a consulting firm to tell me how to do my job. I said, man, no. $97.1 million on homelessness. No, I'm not doing that. $1.8 million to remove homeless encampment. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not spending taxpayers' money to remove the homeless encampment. I did that for 2 years when I was with the city of Edmonton, and we went out there and removed the homeless encampment and loaded everything up. There was no $1.8 million spent. You can't throw money at a problem and hope the problem goes away. And there was no place designated for the homeless people to go. So when you move them out of this area, you send them to somewhere else where they don't want them there. So then they get kicked out of that place. Then they return back to where you kicked them out from. What is the plan there? So he was elected because they said he brought experience to the table. He was 2-term councillor. He was a federal minister. And with those experiences, he will do very well as the mayor of Edmonton. But he failed. And that's one of the things people always say to me, oh, well, Malik, you don't have experience. Malik, you're not a counselor yet. But those that had experience, how much have they done for the city? They have failed. So I think it's not just experience, but I think your heart gotta be there. You gotta have the will to do what is right. You gotta also have the will to say, no, we are not gonna pay for this. And here's why. You cannot, I think it's a bad, it's also very bad when either you say yes and spend the money, or you say no and don't explain why. Sometimes, like a kid, he throws a fit, he's crying, whatever, he wants his iPad. So here's your iPad, go to your room. Problem solved. I don't have to deal with what the issues is. I don't have to deal with why the baby is crying. Or you could sit the kid down and say, baby, why are you crying? What's the issue? How can I help you? Talk to me. And you have to explain and let the kid explain to you what's going on. Instead of saying, hey, here's your iPad, here's ice cream, go to your room. I don't want to hear it. It's almost like what the city does. People complain, whatever, we need this, we need this, we need, okay, here's $10 million, here's $20 million, here's $5 million. You know, go away, solve your problem, and then the problem doesn't get solved. Then the city has to budget more money. Then the problem doesn't get solved. Then they budget and budget and budget. After a while, they say, you know what, we can't budget anymore because we're broke. This is the time for us to have a real conversation with taxpayers and voters. Let them understand we cannot continue to budget and budget and budget and pay and pay and pay, because after a while we run out of money. The city has run out of money. The financial manager, city of Edmonton, said we ran out of money. She gave a speech in December 1st to say the city needs $88 million between now and the new year. The city said they were $32 million in the hole. They're more than that because they don't really want to tell citizens, they don't want to tell residents how bad it is. And we're not even talking about the interest we pay on the loan that the city borrowed. So we cannot tax our way out into prosperity. You know, like, I'm going to take my money, go to the casino. I'm going to play in the casino. I'm going to win more money to pay my rent. No, you're going to blow that money. You're not going to pay your rent. You're going to be out in the street. So the city cannot use taxpayers' money to play all these games they spend it, because eventually you run out of money. Okay. And when people are used to you giving them, then when you say no, they get angry.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Malik. We've got a sense of why you're running. We've got a sense of Edmonton's problems. Let's just take one problem. Let's just take homelessness or houselessness. What are you going to do to solve the problem?
Well, homelessness is a broad brush. It's a generalized thing. This is all homeless people. There are people that are homeless, but they do not have a drug problem. They just cannot afford rent. It's just what it is. You know, they don't have the skill set. They don't have a vehicle. They don't have license. They don't know how to get to job, to and fro from their home to a job site to do a job. They work for temp agencies. You know, they paid $15 an hour. They paid $20 an hour. But in a month, they don't have so much job to be able to pay the rent. And some of them don't have the skill set to be able to compete in the job market, like have a skid steer ticket or zoom boom ticket or front end loader ticket or heavy equipment ticket, or even any skills other than just work as a laborer, you know. And then there are people who were involved, especially women involved in domestic violence. They run away from home. They run away from their boyfriend. They run away from abusive father, abusive mom, abusive husband, abusive boyfriend. They end up in the streets of Edmonton, and they have to work in a sex trade to be able to survive. And sometimes they get pimped out, and their pimp will give them drugs to keep them going. Then they go hooked on the drugs, and the pimp pushes them out and say, well, you know, used to me anymore. You're not making money as you used to make money. Now you're drugged out, go out in the streets, fend for yourself. And there's those that are already hooked on drugs. They've been on drugs for years. So we need to treat homeless people differently depending on what problem they bring. But again, the city have a lot of empty buildings and empty houses and empty apartments that we can put them there. I also want every homeless person, 4,700 homeless people in Edmonton, to be processed. Most of them don't even have an ID. So if a homeless person is processed, have been prescribed the medication, maybe anxiety, PTSD, severe depression. But if you go to the pharmacy to get prescription drug, they ask you for your ID. So if you don't have an ID, you're not going to get it. So, and sometimes if the drugs are given to them and it's not monitored, they'll sell the drugs in the streets for cash. They get to the pharmacy, they get the drugs, they go to the street and sell it. And secondly, we need to be able to provide them a place. They have to get involved in some programs, not just to throw money at it, like the city has spent $97.1 million, but not to throw money at it. Any program that involves with homelessness, we have to look at the programs and make sure that the program actually works. The program actually doing what it's supposed to do. Because there's duplicated programs. There's a lot of programs out there for homeless issues, and if those programs are actually working, we wouldn't have 4,700 homeless people out on the street of Edmonton. Most of them would have been placed into a home, into a place where they either have a security, have a nurse, have paramedics, have someone that looks after them, make sure that everything is good. The safe injection site has not been working. It was put out there to be able to help reduce the death of overdose, especially from buying from drug dealers in the street. But there's been so many people who have overdosed and have never returned back to society. They've been homeless for years and years and years. I thought the plan was, if someone is homeless, we give him treatment and make sure that he or she becomes a tax-paying responsible citizen. But it doesn't seem to be the plan for the government. I think they just want to, keep pushing in the drugs, and the safe injection side obviously is not a good strategy. I understand why it was implemented, but I don't think giving more drugs to a drug addict it helps, or giving more alcohol to someone with a drinking problem. Doesn't matter what dose you give, 1 bottle or 2 bottles a day, it's just not good. They need to detox and clean, and the ones that could return back to society, be able to. There's been stories of people who've been homeless, now they're tax-paying citizens. The ones we're not going to save everyone, but the ones that we can save, we do our best. The one we cannot, that far gone, they're human beings, they're brothers and sisters, we'll still take care of them. But we need to have a plan for accommodation first. First of all, 4,700 homeless people, they have 400 beds. 400 beds.
Where?
Yeah.
Your top mission, where do they have 400 beds?
They said at the Basil Center or one of some of the homes where they stay, they have only 400 beds available.
Is that in all of Edmonton? Is that in all of Edmonton? At this place, at this shelter?
At the shelter. So if the shelter can only have 400 beds, why? There's so much resources the city have to help with homeless issues, other than spending $97.1 million.
Yeah, maybe some of that money was to create more bed spaces, no? Because it
might be for that, but the question is, where is it? I could come to you and say that I need $1,000 to, let's say, get a winter tire. You say, okay, here, Malik, here's $1,000. Then you said, hey, I want to go for coffee. Can you pick me up? Then I came to your place. Look at my tires. I thought I gave you money for a brand new winter tire. This tire doesn't seem like new. Where did the money go? So it's not, If the city gave them the money, fine. The city could say, well, they asked for it, we gave it. But where is it?
Yeah, but what I'm hearing is what you are going to do. That's not coming clearly to me. I'm not getting what new strategies you're going to employ.
The strategy is to provide a home, a place, not a home in the sense of them having a home. There's empty buildings here in Edmonton that we could relocate the homeless people there for the meantime and get them out from the cold and from the elements. Then I want to have them process those that don't have ID to get a temporary ID. And that could be used as an address for those that want to apply for job. You cannot apply for job if you don't have an address. So to have a designated place for them to stay is paramount, number one. Number two is to provide hot meals and washer and dryer for them to wash their clothes. And the food for them to eat. And a shelter over their head.
But the Hope Mission has a navigation center for IDs. You can go to the Hope Mission and get IDs today. Like they have staff there on the go. They are fed 3 times a day with hot meals. All these things already exist. Are you saying they don't exist in enough?
Well, why do we have 4,700 if the program is broken, if it's not working? Because there has to be a result.
Okay.
You can't put money into something where the homeless situation keep getting worse. But if you have tried everything, it doesn't work, then explain to Edmontonians why it's not working. Because everyone downtown is complaining about safety, about homeless people, about homes being broken. My vehicle had been stolen. I live University of Alberta. I bought a brand new Ford F-450. It was stolen in my place. My Dodge truck had been broken into. That was what, last week? Everything in there was taken. My van that I used to travel across Canada, all the windows have been smashed. Why? The homeless people thought something is in there. One time I found a homeless person sleeping inside my van. A homeless person had broken into my home, sleeping on the couch. I went to United States, I got home, and this homeless person had been staying in my home. I don't even know how long it's been there. So obviously to have a place for them is important. So if there are places for them and there's food for them to eat, there's shelter, why is it 4,700 homeless people on the street? I don't have the answers. And I've gone to some of these agencies and they still didn't give me any answer. Because for them it's just a job.
No, it's a
if they don't come here and tell us they have a problem, we're not going to ask them. They have to come to us.
It is a complex problem. So what I'm hearing that you're saying is, if they had a solution, why is the problem not going away? My question is,
the problem not reducing? It's probably never going to go away, but why doesn't it reduce? Why, if you're 4,700, why doesn't it reduce to about 1,000 or 500? Then that could prove that the $97.1 million that was put in, we're seeing the results. Why is it that all this program you mentioned are there, but there's still more homeless people and there's not enough bed? And this is statistics from them. This is from Business Center, some of these homes that the homeless people stay. This is from them. This is on the website. It doesn't take a rocket science to see it. They have it on their website. So if the program is working, why do we have more and more homeless people on the streets?
Okay. All right. So thank you, Malik. I will bring you back and we'll carry on this conversation. Where can people find more information about you and what you want to do?
Well, I've been busy touring so many communities, Somalian communities, Kenyan communities, Sudanese community, Togo, Guinea-Bissau, East Indian community, the Pakistani community, Afghani community. I have a meeting with the president of the Pakistani community, Tariq Chaudhry, on the 2nd of February. So there's so many events. I just came back from an event. Every single day I attend at least 2 or 3 events in the community. So I've been very busy, and meeting with people. The Filipino community, they invited me to their community, invited me to their churches, invited me to their businesses. So I've been literally busy, so it's just, and most of those places I go, I see Sohi there. So it's just both of us that I see in all those events. I don't see Tim. I don't see Tony Katarina. I don't see Omar Mohammed. I don't see Rahim Jaffer. It's just, I see Sohi in myself in all these events. And yeah.
Where can people find out more about your
my website will be out soon. Yeah, because I want to be very, very careful and methodical about what I put out there. And for me, this time around, it's not just the sake of having a website. It's my website this time is just going to be to inform the people. It's not just have a website of bullet points of things that I'll do. No, it's to inform the people as the circumstances and situation with the city of Edmonton, to be honest with them and also explain to them what I can and cannot do and what to expect from me. And why, if I became the mayor of the city of Edmonton, it's not going to be an easy job this time around, especially when the city is broke. So we're going to tighten up our belt, and there are going to be so many changes for sure. And hopefully those changes will lead to prosperity for the city of Edmonton, for taxpayers in Edmonton, for business community, for mom and pop businesses, for the working class and the middle class and the small business owners, for schools, for our community leaders, for the youths, for young people, and newcomers, and people that either came from overseas or people that moved from a different province that moved to Edmonton to call Edmonton a new home. And in 2021, we were shy of 1 million people. Today, we're 1.5 million people in Edmonton. So Edmonton is growing. It's a good place to be, but we need to do far more better than what we have right now. My website will be out. Taking my time. It's a thought process. I study a lot every single night, and I'm also spend a whole lot of time with the community. For example, so he's running, but he hasn't told the media that he's running. So, but he's running for election. He's a candidate for mayor, city of Edmonton. So, but we it's not going to be an easy election. But I think I need to explain. I need to get my face out there and let the people know who is Malik and understand what I stand for, what I tend to accomplish as a mayor, and my vision and plan for the city. It's gonna be tough for sure. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything, make promises that I won't keep, because they're always easy to make those promises, because people get very desperate. They want to tell people that voters, I could do this and do this. Then when you go in there, you don't do it, then people are upset and mad at you. So I think this is a time of choosing, and it's also a time to tell the truth. So I think Edmontonians can handle the truth. When someone tells them exactly how bad things are and say, hey, give me a chance, I have some plan and solution. If you give me a chance, I could turn things around. People might be willing to give that chance and opportunity, because the alternative want to increase taxes anyways. Tim Catmull voted against Sohi reducing tax from 8.9% to 6.1%. Tim Catmull voted against it. Tim and Andrew Knack voted against it. Actually, they said we shouldn't even reduce the tax from 8.9. We should increase the tax so that the city will have more money to spend. Yeah, the city might need more money, but I don't think that is the issue. I think the biggest problem the city have is spending. We need to look at each program that we're funding in the city of Edmonton and see what are the priorities and what are not. The ones that are not a priority for now, we could put it aside until we're able to have the funds necessary to do these things, and also to bridge the gap and the relationship between Edmonton and the province. Edmonton, between Edmonton and the city hall, between Edmonton and the Premier Daniel Smith. So we need to work hard as a city to build a relationship with the Premier, because it doesn't really matter what party you belong to. At the end of the day, it's a pocketbook issues. The citizens want to pay less taxes, to be able to have more money in their pocket. The businesses want to be able to expand and grow. And if we reduce property tax, it will help a lot. And another thing that's going to help is to reduce red tapes on things like building permits. One of the biggest complaints I get from developers and builders is the time it takes to get a building permit from the city of Edmonton, and also licenses to do other stuff. So I will work on that and reduce those red tapes for sure. And hopefully we could get Edmonton moving forward. And it's not going to be easy. I try to be clear on that. And because I think when you're honest with the people and tell them the truth, they know what to expect. And when you go in there, you do more, then they praise you. So it's better they know the truth than you going in and make a bunch of promises. Then you go in there, they expect you to pay for this, say, well, there's no money. So why do you make those promises? So now you have to go out there in the media and explain yourself. So
Malik,
once the people, go ahead. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Much for your time. Like we could, I know you enjoy conversations like this, but we need to maybe bring you back when we have like a bit more time another evening, and we can maybe ask you more detailed questions and time you. Maybe give you a minute and a half. Otherwise, you won't let me ask follow-up questions and so on
Yes.
and so forth. But having said that, I want to say thank you. What a busy night it was for you. You were taproot, but you made time for us in media, and for that I'm grateful. And we wish you all the best. Running in 25 for running to be Edmonton's next mayor. Malik, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, bye.
Okay. See you soon. Bye bye. I want to say thank you very much for staying with us since 7 o'clock. We hope you got some value from all the guests we brought in. At the top of the hour was Chidi Iwuchukwu. We had Wummi Awujola from the Yorubas of Edmonton, and Elnathan came from the Financial Empowerment Initiative. We wrapped it up by with a chat with Malik Chuwudi, who is running for mayor who's running for Edmonton City Mayor. I want to say thank you again, and I hope you join us next week, where we have another impressive lineup of guests to talk about Edmonton, to talk about community, and to talk about events. We hope to see you then. Take care of yourselves. Good night.